Tonight is a great opportunity to do some business with fellow sponsors and you, our VIP guests tonight. And do not forget your business cards, as there will be some prizes drawn later in the evening. And also a free 3-minute neck massage is being offered later on by Dr. Cole's medical practice. So that's going to be fantastic. Tonight's procedures, I will update you regarding SBAA, or Small Business Association of Australia. Dr. Cole will give a talk on your business health, and she calls it the Healthy, Happy Entrepreneur. So that's going to be quite exciting. Dr. Cole will take questions at the conclusion. A vote of thanks will be made on behalf of SBAA by Les Hall, and you'll have heaps of time for networking and doing business and also making new friends. We finish at 8:30 p.m, but you can leave earlier if you would prefer, or if you have to go earlier. I would now like to welcome each of you tonight, and our special guest speaker tonight is Dr. Valerie Cole, who I will introduce later, and who will talk about you and your business health. I know that you'll find it very interesting. I'd like to welcome Councillor Jan Grew, Division 11 of the Gold Coast City. Thank you. And our valued sponsors, with many now in their second year. We do not have anyone from IINet because they are located in Perth, and Aspen Medical because they are located in Canberra, but they do endorse us by being major sponsors. Valued members and guests, and thank you to Bond University for your excellent catering as always. You have an excellent reputation. Tonight's sponsors are Sabre Corporate Development and Klein Constructions, and a little later in the evening you'll be able to hear about these two great Gold Coast businesses. I'd also like to introduce you to 3 special people who are part of Small Business Association of Australia. And if you wouldn't mind standing, Elizabeth Logan, my PA. Where are you, Elizabeth? Oh, there. And Kira Duff, who assists Elizabeth and who is also a writer, and she has now started her small business. And Les Hall, where are you, Les? Who is our media manager. Now, for your diary, our next business lunch is Wednesday, the 27th of June. This lunch will be very special as it will provide a post-budget analysis, not by our pollies and what they want to say, but by the business community, and will cover the areas that affect your business, investments, and importantly, your superannuation. That's going to be very, very interesting and exciting. July is still being organised, and on Tuesday, the 27th of August, we will see the Deputy Premier, the Honourable Jeff Seeney, as guest speaker, and this will be a dinner with a 5 p.m. start due to his schedule. We are ready to do business luncheons in Brisbane commencing next year. And for those who attended the Gina Reinhardt book launch in November last year at the Stanford Plaza will know we had a most successful event, and I have since received continuous requests to do more there. We are holding now this is a special event, we are holding the very first 2013 Reinhardt Award that will recognise someone for their contribution to the business community and carries a cash prize of $40,000. Now, this was announced by Gina Reinhardt herself at our luncheon last year. This Gala Award event is being held here at Bond University on Friday, the 22nd of November, and this is the anniversary of Gina's late dad's discovery of the Pilbara region. Applications are going public very shortly, and I wish to thank Professor Mark Hurst, the Dean of Business, and Professor Carmen Cox and their team from Bond University who prepared the criteria and who will be involved, plus others, as judges. We will also have an awards magazine that will be published by Crowther Blaine, and they do fantastic publications. They do, I think it's the REIQ and a whole range of magazines like that right around Australia. The following day, Saturday the 23rd of November, we will see the very first small business conference at the grassroots level ever held in Australia. And it'll be held here at Bond University because, ladies and gentlemen, we have to get very serious about if we want to make changes to help small business prosper and move along in Australia. And I repeat, we expect that the Prime Minister, whoever that may be, will open the main address. The day will consist of a business breakfast followed by a number of workshops. Now to probably the most important part tonight is that I'd like to spend a few minutes on what I regard as the most important topic, and that is small business, that is the SME sector, which includes small business and medium enterprises. We have stated that one of our key objectives is to be the voice of small business and have given a lot of thought as to how we go about it. On the local level, you have the chambers, but Small Business Association of Australia will concentrate primarily on federal issues. What we plan on doing is as follows. We will not offer ideas or suggestions or solutions prior to this election, because the Coalition does have its policies, and for those who attended our lunch in March, we had the Shadow Small Business Minister give his address there. And the federal government is simply, I don't think they're very interested. Now, to assist the small business owner, we believe that we need to approach this in a holistic manner. It is futile to make any recommendations or changes in isolation. We have a team that will research the areas of international trade and tariffs, ASIC and ATO compliance, banking and finance, the ACTU, the myriad of legislation, licences from the state offices of fair trading, and we will define what we believe a small business is. We look at business incentives, industrial relations and global trends around the world in goods, services and products, and which markets are growing, that is the luxury market, the middle market, etc. In the global financial downturn, it was noted that the luxury market did not suffer any adverse loss of sales, and in fact it is growing, and that is where the trend seems to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we propose to do is prepare a paper based, and it'll be an exciting and vibrant paper on our research that will outline the problems, the solutions, and what the expected outcome can be and how we can do it. Our paper will be put under scrutiny and carefully evaluated. It will not be a band-aid solution, and only then will we present our recommendations to all political parties, including the government of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Australia is the land of opportunity, the land of the immigrant hosting a wealth of knowledge, entrepreneurship and talent and ready to give it a go. But we are not only being held back, but we are being strangled by the system, and it's a system we have to change. Our time frame is to have this paper ready by the 30th of June 2014, and then it will become a continuous campaign rather than once every 3 years at each election time. Through our Small Business Conference, we believe this event will go national in the following year and will elevate and recognise the importance of the small business to the economy and the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our outline. We do plan, as I said, when you start talking about the problems facing small business, they are many and varied, and whilst you may get rid of one or two bits of compliance or legislation, it doesn't fix the problem. You've got to look at tariffs, because we're being told, for example, that there are great opportunities overseas. But recently we had the Ford case, and we all have an idea and opinion, I suppose, what happened there. And yet on the eve of the night when Ford decided to export their cars to Thailand, the Thai government introduced an 80% tariff rate overnight, thus creating or making their price double that of what the car should have been. There's a whole lot of anomalies like that going on, and whilst I believe in free trade and a whole range of issues, you have to also have it balanced. It can't be just one way. And I do think we are a dumping ground in many cases, and we don't have a fair reciprocal arrangement either way, and I think that's got to be looked at very, very carefully. Compliance creates too much legislation. Compliance creates delays, lack of productivity and costs. Before the UK became a member of the EU and the EC and so forth, to transport something from the UK to Italy, for example, you required about 85 permits. Today there is only one. That's got to cut cost, time and a whole lot of other things as well. So we can go through a whole range of things like this. We need to look at everything properly and evaluate it and bring and make up a proper proposal where governments will listen, the legislators will listen and the bureaucracy will listen. I actually don't blame the bureaucracy because they don't know any differently. They're trained in their certain fields of business. And I think if they're provided with what their legislation does and the harm it can do, I think that will make a big difference. When you talk about trends, luxury trends, an interesting thing that I've noticed and I'd like to point it out. At Robina Town Centre, you talk about the luxury market. There's a cosmetic shop called Mecca. I don't know if any of the ladies have been there at all. Yeah, okay. And I went in there the other day. I normally don't go into these places, but there was something that attracted me to go into that shop. And yeah, fantastic products in there, plenty of people buying and all the rest of it. And I had a look at the prices. I said, well, how much is that, you know? Oh, $450 for a jar of cream, night cream. Ladies and gentlemen, people were buying, they were spending. The second thing is, has anybody been to the Zen restaurant at Jupiter's Casino, the Chinese restaurant there? Okay. Most of the time when you go there, you have to wait, unless you have a reservation, you have to wait there for a second serving, a second sitting, I should say. And their prices are not cheap. An average plate's probably about $40, $50. They do have live lobsters and live fish and that, and they're about $300 odd a plate. But the place is packed out. So what does that say about things? It means that people do have money, but they're prepared to pay for quality things. And I think personally that's the market Australia should be aiming for, especially on the export side. We should not even try and compete with Asia, because there'll always be that market, you know, for cheaper products. But we should look at the middle and the upper market, because I believe we can do some fabulous stuff in this country. And I would also like to look at governments, local, state and federal, in becoming marketeers for our products. I know it used to be, then it changed, so I'm not too sure what it is now. But if you have an event where you bring international, for example, delegations to this country, we should be using our wines, we should be using our product, we should be promoting our stuff, because if our government doesn't do it, what does that say about what we are doing out here? And lastly, years ago when I first started travelling around the world, I remember travelling, two things stood out in my mind, and it has always. And I was a young person, I didn't care about international trade or business or whatever it was at that time. I had a great job, you know, travelling the world in the airline industry, etc. But two things stood out. This is to do with Qantas and Air New Zealand. I travelled on a Qantas flight, French wines and French this and all the rest of it. Then you go on to Air New Zealand, and guess what? New Zealand butter, New Zealand wine, and all the rest of it. And that's what we should be doing, because we make good stuff in this country. We should be very proud of what we do, and we should support, and we shouldn't be going for this cheaper stuff. I don't believe in it. The Gold Coast, to me, I reckon it could become a mini Singapore again. Well, not again, become a mini Singapore, where you create or you attract wealth into this region. That in turn will equate to jobs, and you can pay, so the small business owner makes money, staff make good money, and it goes right around. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work that out. So yes, we have an agenda on our plate, and that is to make a change for small business. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.